You mail a company a tube of saliva. Months later, a report comes back. Where your family came from, who you are related to, what your genes say about you. That is the trade. You hand over the one piece of information about yourself that you can never change, and you trust them to keep it. In 2023, a breach at 23andMe compromised the genetic data of 6.9 million customers worldwide. Health tech frontier. In July 2026, a coalition of 42 attorneys general announced a settlement with 23andMe's bankruptcy trustee over that breach. Under the settlement, the states are to be paid $18 million out of available bankruptcy funds. That figure is the states' share. In the same bankruptcy, 23andMe agreed to a separate $46.75 million class settlement for consumers who submitted claims by February 17, 2026. The recovery is limited, and the releases say why. The estate has limited funds and many competing claims. Attackers reused passwords stolen from other sites, a tactic called credential stuffing. Pennsylvania's release defines it word for word. The cybercriminals attempt to brute force access to an account on a website using a stolen password from another website that they believe might have been reused on the targeted account. The states tied those credentials to an earlier breach at MyHeritage, a 23andMe partner. The releases say that earlier breach exposed thousands of credentials shared between the two companies' websites. Colorado calls the attack particularly egregious for exactly that reason. The attorneys general said their multistate investigation found 23andMe's data security practices were unreasonable. No block list of known breached passwords or required second factor, and inadequate logging, monitoring, and other tools likely to detect a breach. The list runs longer than that. The attorneys general say the company failed to implement appropriate rate limiting or intrusion prevention, failed to appropriately investigate unusual login patterns, failed to remediate known vulnerabilities, and failed to appropriately review and test design features. The matter resolved by settlement, without any admission of liability. 23andMe learned of the breach months after impacted personal information was publicly available. It first denied a breach, then confirmed it. And according to the releases, once it confirmed the breach, it blamed consumers for how their accounts were set up or how their passwords were used. Maryland's Attorney General said Marylanders trusted 23andMe to protect their data, that it failed to safeguard it, and then blamed its customers. The exposed data included genetic ancestry information in some cases, and subsets of it were later published for sale on the dark web. 23andMe filed for bankruptcy in March 2025. In bankruptcy, its assets, including customer data, were sold to TTAM Research Institute, now 23andMe Research Institute, a nonprofit formed by 23andMe founder and former CEO Anne Wojcicki. The sale came with conditions: enhanced data security requirements, a risk analysis, an advisory board, an agreement to be bound by comprehensive privacy laws without exception, and an agreement to keep offering consumers deletion rights. HIPAA generally protects identifiable genetic information only when it qualifies as protected health information handled by a covered entity or business associate. Direct-to-consumer testing companies usually fall outside it. HIPAA is written around relationships, not around how sensitive the data feels. A health plan, a clearinghouse, or a provider running covered electronic transactions. And the firms handling that protected health information on their behalf. A company you mail a kit to on your own is generally none of those things. This case was brought by state attorneys general. Vermont's Attorney General said, "Our genetic data, like our DNA, is incredibly personal and forever unchangeable. It belongs to us. A stolen password is an inconvenience because you can replace it. A stolen genome is not replaceable. And it is not only about you. The National Human Genome Research Institute puts it plainly. Genomic information is hereditary and may reveal information about relatives. You can set privacy controls and delete data held by 23andMe Research Institute. If you tested with any direct-to-consumer service, the questions worth asking are the same three. Who holds it now? What happens to it if that company is sold, and can you delete it today? The law caught up with 23andMe in the end. It took 42 attorneys general, a bankruptcy trustee, and a settlement announced in July 2026. Signing off for now. This has been Health Tech Frontier. Subscribe for the next chapter.